project. First, we come up with data analysis. For data analysis, we use quantitative data. For quantitative, the best median for data, whether it's quick to left or right, mean not allow since sensitive to outliers. Mean for data symmetric only. Second is qualitative. For qualitative, we use the mode. Third is dispersion. Dispersion is variance standard can only be applied to the data with valid mean. IQR can be used for data with valid median. Okay. Now objective 1 of the study for our project is to describe the demography of the students based on gender, race, hometown, admission qualification, CGPA and salary. For gender and race, female is the mode for the study. Whether the Chinese female got 544. Second is male. The male for Chinese is second. Whether it's got 265. Okay. Most of the students studying SQQS 1033 are Chinese. Female is the mode in the aspect of gender. Second is hometown. They got 5 categories for hometown. First, North Malaysia, which is Perlis, Kedah, Penang and Perak. Second is Mid Malaysia, Putrajaya, Kuala Lumpur, Selangor and Pahang. Third is South Malaysia, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan and Johor. Fourth is East Coastal, Kelantan and Terengganu. Last one is East Malaysia, Sabah, Sarawak and Labuan. From the distribution of table, the mode for the hometown is North Malaysia, which is 665 frequency. The percentage is 29.4. For South Malaysia, 21.6%. For Mid Malaysia, 21.5%. East Coast Malaysia, 15.7%. And East Malaysia is 11.8%. So by studying this the data, we say that most students studying SQQS 1033 come from North Malaysia. Third is admission qualification. For the admission qualification, mode STPM is the mode. The admission qualification is unimodal set. They got 5 categories in admission qualification. First is diploma, matriculation, others, STAM and STPM. For diploma, 322 students, which is 14.2%. For matriculation, 324 students, which is 40.3%. For others, 161, which is 7.1%. For STAM, 162, which is 7.2%. For STPM, 1293, which is 57.2%. So, the most of the students from SQQS 1033 had taken STPM as admission qualification into this university. Okay. After that, CGPA. For analyze the CGPA, we using the Sturge formula, which is got 12 classes. The class size is 0.17 and the maximum value is 3.96 and the minimum value is 2.02. Okay. From the graph, we can explain whether the skewness is equal to negative 0.374 near to 0, so the data is approximately symmetrical. The first quartile is 2.83 and the third quartile is 3.57. IQR equal to 0.74. The lower limit is 1.73 while the upper limit is 4.67. There are no data lies outside the range, so there is no outliers. Mean is 3.11. This is show that on average the students studying SQQS 1033 obtain a CGPA of 3.11. Variance is 0.2787. This shows that data is dispersed little from the mean with 0.2787. kurtosis is negative 0.109, near to 0. The data is approximately mesokurtic or approximately normal distributed. So the finally is salary. For describe this salary, we using the Sturge formula, whether got 12 classes. The class size is 976. Maximum value is 12,300. Minimum value is 600. We exclude the missing value because they do not represent the real distribution of the salary for SQQS 1033 student. And here there are only 2,169 students have salary. From the graph we can describe whether the skewness is equal to 0.017 near to 0. So the data is approximately symmetrical. The first quartile is 3,816.65. The third quartile is 8,885.51. IQR equal to 5,068.86. The lower limit is negative 3,786.64. There is impossible negative value in salary, while the upper limit is 16,488.80. There is no outliers in this data. The mean is 6,397.23. This shows that on average, the students studying SQQS 1033 obtain a salary of 6,397.23. Coefficient of variation is 44.01%, show that 44.01% of the data is dispersed from the mean, highly dispersed. So finally, the kurtosis for this data is negative 1.201, indicate that the data is platykurtic or not normally distributed. CGPA, the next is CGPA listed by gender. From the box plot, we can explain whether the range for the box plot are approximately the same. Box plot of female against CGPA and male against CGPA show the left skewed distribution. There are no outlier in both cases. Both median is between CGPA 3.00 to 3.50. We can conclude that the average CGPA obtained by both males and females are between 3.00 and 3.25. This shows that both male and female students have the similar ability to score the same level of CGPA. Okay. For the conclusion in objective 1, the demography of the students studying SQQS 1033 can be described with proper data analysis like mode for qualitative data and the other type of data analysis for quantitative data.
Next, we are going to look for the second objective and the third objective, talking about the relationship between CGPA and also the other factors, also the salary and other factors. So for quantitative and quantitative data, we are going to use scatter plot to determine, interpret and analyze the relationship between the two quantitative data. Whereas for the data which is quantitative and another one is qualitative, the bivariate data we will analyze it using a box plot. And for the two qualitative data which is bivariate, and for that type of data we will be using a bar chart. Okay, so in objective 2, we are going to identify and interpret the relationship between CGPA, SPM Math, CGPA and SPM Math, CGPA and SPM English, MUAT, total semester status, working settle, type or level of work, working experience, and also CGPA and salary. So first is about CGPA and SPM Math. So talking about the CGPA and SPM Math, as what you can see from the box plot, we can say that there exists an inconsistent association between the two variables when we exclude the outliers. Since in the box plot we can see there's a lot of outliers, so by excluding the outliers, only we can see the real relationship between CGPA and also SPM Math. So as what you can see here, students who score 1A in SPM Math have the highest CGPA as compared to the others. And then from 1A to 2A, there exists a positive relationship, or we say the lower grade, lower CGPA for the students studying SQS 1033. Whether from 2A to 3B, the negative relationship exists between CGPA and SPM Math when there is a higher grade but they obtain a lower CGPA. And then from 3B to 6C, there exists again the positive relationship between the CGPA and also the SPM Math, meaning that when they obtain a lower grade, they obtain a lower CGPA. So meaning from here we can conclude that the grade of SPM Math actually does affect the CGPA, but not the perfect key factor that affect the CGPA, since there exists an inconsistent relationship. So next, let us see the relationship between CGPA and also SPM and Math. So as you can see in the box plot, it's the same thing. In 1A, there exists some outliers for the student who obtain the score of 1A in SPM and Math. So, however, what we can see is students who scored 1A in SPM and Math actually scored the highest CGPA. So from the grade higher than 4B, positive relationship occurs between CGPA and also SPM and Math, meaning that when they obtain a lower grade in SPM and Math, they obtain a lower CGPA. However, for 4B to 5C, negative relationship exists between CGPA and also SPM and Math, meaning that when they score lower grade in SPM and Math, they obtain a higher CGPA. And from 5C to 6C, positive relationship again occurs between the two variables, where when they obtain a lower grade in the SPM and Math, they obtain a lower CGPA. So at here we can further conclude that there exists a weak correlation between CGPA and SPM and Math, since SPM and Math is not really the factor that influence the CGPA. So as what we can see, it's same as the CGPA and also SPM Math, there exists an inconsistent relationship. So next, we shall proceed to CGPA and SPM English. So for CGPA and SPM English, as what you can see from the box plot, there are no outliers in the box plot at all. So and then there exists a positive relationship between these two variables when the student who scored 1A in SPM English obtained the highest CGPA in SQS 1033 compared to the other grades. So as the grade of the SPM English is getting lower, the CGPA is also getting lower. So SPM English is considered as one of the key factors that affect the CGPA, since as what you can see, there's a positive relationship between these two variables. So next, we shall proceed to CGPA and MUET. So for CGPA and MUET, as what you can see from here, basically the student who studying SQS 1033 will obtain MUET in band 2, band 3 or band 4, and then students who obtain a high band 4 in MUET obtain the highest average CGPA compared to those who obtain a band of band 2 and band 3 in MUET. So the positive correlation exists between CGPA and MUET, where when the student obtain a higher band in MUET, they obtain a higher CGPA. So we can conclude that MUET does influence the CGPA of the students. So in conclusion, for these four factors, we can say that it's actually the relationship between CGPA and also the grade of the students for them to get into the university, or you can say the subject they took before they get into the university. So from here we conclude that increased grades during SPM and pre-university courses does affect the CGPA of the students studying SQS 1033. So next we shall proceed to the relationship between CGPA and total semester. For CGPA and total semester, there exists a non-linear negative association, which is a decreasing trend in overall. So from here there exists an inconsistent association, which is from 5 semesters to the 9 semesters, there exists a negative relationship between the CGPA and total semester, where when total semester increase, the CGPA of the students will decrease with inconsistent variance. So for the student who graduate within 7 semester, they have a weak negative relationship between CGPA and total semester. And for those who graduate in between 8 to 9 semester, there will be a strong negative relationship between them. So for those who graduate in 9 semester to 10 semesters, their positive relationship occurs between CGPA and also total semester. So we can conclude that the total semester does not really influence CGPA. So next, we shall look on the CGPA and total semester status. So for total semester status, as what we can see, there are 3 types of total semester status, which is extend, fast track or graduate on time. So for here we can see in those students who extend their semester, they exist some outliers inside the box plot. However, we decide to exclude that kind of outliers. So from here we can see majority of the students who graduate on time obtain a highest average CGPA compared to those who graduate with extended semester or those who having their fast track program. So here the median exists CGPA of 3.00 when we exclude the outliers. So the box plot, however, the box plot for the extend shows the light skewed distribution, and the box plot of the fast track and graduate on time shows the left skewed distribution, and we can see graduate on time is actually the best option to obtain a higher CGPA.
CGPA and working status. Both male and female who are working have almost the same rate of CGPA, even though the middle 50% of data is slightly different. Both male and female who are not working also have almost the same average CGPA, which is between 3.00 to 3.50. For both male and female, the high CGPA does not guarantee a job for students studying SQQS 1033. Students who work in private sector have the highest CGPA compared to other sector. This shows that the recruitment for private sector are much higher than the other sector in terms of competency. CGPA and type or level of work. The students who work as teacher and lecturer have the highest CGPA as compared to the other level of work. The CGPA for students who work as executive show at left skewed distribution and has a largest range not consistent. It is at least shown that the CGPA of students who work as teacher and lecturer must be higher enough. CGPA and working experience. The first row third column show a linear association between the two variables. The plot is scattered along an imaginary linear line. Zero slope does not show any trend. There are no outliers, no any plot that form another cluster from the group of data. This shows that CGPA does not affect working experience. CGPA and salary. 93 missing values are excluded because they are not significant to show the relationship between the two variables. The covariance of the two variables is inconstant. Heterogeneity. The strength of the relationship between the two variables is also inconstant. For CGPA of around 2.5, there exists a strong positive relationship between the CGPA and the salary of the student. There are some outliers above the cluster of data. Some students who score CGPA of 2.5 and below still manage to get a high salary. CGPA strongly influences the salary of the student who score a CGPA of 2.5 and below. Outlier excluded. This is proven by the Teow correlation coefficient of 0.54C. For the student who score 2.5 and above, a very weak positive relationship or nearly to relationship exists. All the plot are scattered around the imaginary horizontal line with a zero slope. This is proven by the Teow correlation coefficient of 0.08C. CGPA is not really a factor that affects the salary of the student who score CGPA 2.5 and above. In conclusion, the relationship between the CGPA and the salary of the students studying SQQS 1033 is weak even throughout the relationship is positive. Conclusion for year 2, the factor that influence the CGPA or SQQS 1033 student is their level their English level. The best way for the student of obtain a
Okay, next I'm going to discuss the objective 3 of the study. The objective 3 of our study is to identify and interpret the relationship between salary and gender, salary and total semester, salary and working sector, salary and type or level of work, and salary and working experience. Okay, for the first part, salary and gender, we can see that from the box plot, the average salary for females and males is almost the same, since the median of both gender are approximately same. Both male and females have maximum salary more than 12,000 and their minimum salary is less than 2,000. Both plots show approximately symmetric distribution. This indicates that the dispersion of salary of both males and females are almost the same. We can say that the salary is not determined by gender. Next, for the salary and total semester, in overall the graph have a decreasing trend. And then we can see that there is a non-linear shape and moderate association. It also exists in constant relationship between the two variables. From total semester of 5 semester to 9 semester, there are a negative relationship. From 9 semester to 10 semester, the positive relationship is exists. This shows that the total semester is not the key factor that influences salary of the SQQS 1033 students. Then for the part of salaries and working sector, we see that students who work on their own obtain a higher salaries and when the outliers is excluded. For students who work in public sector, they obtain the lowest of salary. The on and public sector have an approximately symmetrical distribution. However, for the private sector, there are a left skewed distribution. This shows that salary does not depend on the sector of work. Next, for the part of salary and type or level of work, we say that most students who work as directors enjoy higher average salary compared to others. Executive level has the largest dispersion of salary, showing inconsistency. The smaller dispersion of salary in the work level of director, lecturer, miscellaneous work, and teachers indicates that the salary is more consistent. And here all outliers, the non-applicable data in the work level and the missing value in the salary, we excluded this kind of data because they are invalid in representing the relationship. For the last part is the salary and the working experience. We can see that from the scatter plot there exists a linear relationship, and then we can form an imaginary linear line along the scatter plot. Then from the table we can see that the coefficient correlation is 0.240, which show a weak relationship. This shows that the working experience influences the salary, but it is not the key factor. So the conclusion for objective 3, the first we said that the salary is not determined by gender. Second, the total semester is not the key factor that influences the salary of SQQS 1033 student. Third, salary depends on the working sector of the students. And last, the working experience influences the salary, but it's not the key factor.
Okay, so as what you can see from the result of our study, so in conclusion, we can further conclude that the salary of the students studying SQQS 1033 doesn't depend on the academic, but this depends on the other factors such as the level of the work and the type of the work they are in. So this type of the factors are the true things that influence their salary. So from here we can further relate the attribute of the student toward the attitude of the student towards the statistics with the career development. So thank you. That's all.